The Chicago Bulls are set to face the Detroit Pistons in Paris today. Now, whereas the Pistons should not be a big test for the Chicago Bulls, as we know over the course of this season, the Bulls have struggled. Can they find success and defeat the Detroit Pistons in DeMar DeRozan's return? We're going to talk about that and some more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, it feels like it's been such a long time since we actually had Chicago Bulls basketball. Like, it's so weird to get like this type of break just in the middle of January, right? Like, usually if we're getting a break like this long, an extended break, it's at All-Star weekend, but it is what it is. The Bulls face the Pistons today, and same story when it comes to Chicago Bulls that we've been talking about all season. Can they execute defensively? Can they execute offensively? Can they rebound the ball well? And while the Detroit Pistons right now shape up to be, they are one of the worst offensive teams in the NBA. They're also one of the worst. I think they're second worst defense in the NBA this season. And those things shape up to work into the Chicago Bulls' favor. The Detroit Pistons ranked 29th on defense and 24th on the offensive side of the ball. But as we know with the Chicago Bulls, the Bulls are susceptible to letting teams and their role players going off. Now, outside of Bojan Bogdanovic, who is their number one scorer, he leads that team in scoring. They're only 20 point per game scorer. You don't want to overlook this team at all in the Detroit Pistons. As we've been saying with the Chicago Bulls team, they have not earned the right to overlook anyone. So with Killian Haize being out there, with Bojan being out there, and Jalen Duren, if he found his passport, we don't even know if he's going to be playing. Alex Burks, who's come on for the Pistons as of late. These Sadiq Bey, who gave us a little bit of issues the last time we played them. These are the type of players that the Bulls tend to let go off. And as we said before, young, scrappy teams that come in, play hard, have a solid game plan, have given the Bulls fits at times. Now, this is a game, even if Duren does play, that we should still play from the inside out with Nikola Vucevic. At least try to set that tone that way. See if it goes. If Jalen Duren is too much on that post for Nikola Vucevic on the defensive side, then you may have to change some things. But the Bulls have to come locked in. This team's had an extended break. They've had some team bonding moments being over there in Paris for the last few days. Things like that. It's all cool and fine and dandy to see you guys hanging out at the Eiffel Tower. I've been there myself. Pretty cool place. But it all don't matter if you come back on the floor and you look like a bunch of punks. So hopefully we start seeing some stabilization in the bipolar Chicago Bulls that we've had out there for so long. But at the end of the day, it's this, right? The up and down play of this team. The fact that this team has gone from being riding a wave where it's like, hey, we've won 8 of our last 3 to then losing 3 in a row. They won their last game against the Warriors. This team is just being up and down, really just it solidifies what this team has been all this season. Like that's just what we've been. And so hopefully we start seeing those type of things change, but the Bulls have to execute on the offensive side of the ball for themselves. Like, who else is going to step up other than the big three? It's good that we're going to have our medium three back out there as a whole again. It's good to have DeMar DeRozan back. I think he helped some of those scoring droughts. Even hearing him talk about, what he's noticed being a spectator with the scoring droughts and how he thinks he can help it. All those things. But really when it boils down to it, Vooch, Zach, DeMar, at least for the last 10 games that they've even played together, and more than that for Vooch and Zach, have been pretty consistent. What's been really inconsistent lately is we still go to the heavy isolation ball when things go, and once the Bulls do get punched in the mouth, how they respond is usually the biggest story in that game. But we need help from other players. The other players have to step up. We've been getting really good production off the bench from Kobe, Goran, Drummond when he does play. Derrick Jones Jr. has been giving us some really good minutes, but we just need to start seeing it all come together. I think if this team can get it all to come together, plus health, right? Getting Javonte back and having the bench back. Really, Javonte and Lonzo Ball are the only ones on an injury report right now. We know Alex Caruso is always in the state of being banged up. I don't think he's 100% after the first tip-off of the season. But those things coming along for the Chicago Bulls, we got less than half the games left. We played 44 games already. We have 38 games left on the season. And, for those that were hoping the Bulls are gonna be able to maybe avoid the play-in, really, unless the Bulls plan on going on a great run, they would literally have to win 20 out of their last 38. And even then, that's only a 2 above 500 pace, which means the Bulls still would not be over 500 for the season. And so when you just start looking at the runway that this team has left on the season, it's very unlikely that they're going to be able to avoid the play-in tournament. So because they're going to be in that tournament, and if they do want to at least get to the first round and outside of that play-in, avoid their pick being a lottery pick, things like that, they have to get everything on the same page as quickly as possible. That means that this big three has to show up and play. That's no more passes for Zach LaVine. Yeah, you're not always going to shoot the ball efficiently, but what you've shown, at least in this run, is that you're learning to get to the free throw line. Do that. Dish the ball. Facilitate. Same with DeMar. Become a facilitator. Be active on the defensive end. Averaging almost 2 steals per game, DeMar DeRozan, in his last 10 games. Stay being active. And Vooch has to hit his shots. He has to show up. He has to step up. We have to win rebounding battles. That is where in this game the Detroit Pistons could come, if they're going to hang their hats on anything outside of the shooting, because we always let a team go off when it comes to shooting, is rebounding. The Detroit Pistons are averaging more rebounds per game than the Chicago Bulls. That's just facts. And with the Bulls team that we've seen so far this season, if a team can come in and win that rebounding battle, it makes it a difficult game for the Bulls, especially if that team can get some offensive rebounds. So the Bulls are going to have to be locked in from now to the end of the season. And that is really where the biggest concern is as we move into the next topic, is just how much can the Bulls really save their season? And the fact of the matter is, we are not the most talented team in the league. We do not have a generational talent, and our big three don't always fit together in games the correct way and that we would hope them to see. But really, when you look at the ceiling for the Chicago Bulls team this season, right, they're going to have to expound so much energy and focus to get, if they have any hopes of avoiding the play-in, this team needs to be locked in, ongoing, and has to treat every single game like it's a playoff game for the rest of the season. That's just the situation that they worked themselves into, being this far under 500, this far into the season. Is it possible that the Bulls go on a great run where they win 22 out of their last 38 games? Listen, there's a chance for anything. And the way that we've seen this team play, how good they've played in the games that they've looked amazing in, it leads you to believe that they can beat anyone. The issue with this team is that we've seen the low of the lows, and it's looked like they can lose to anyone at any given point as well. And so, as we look outside of just this game, we come off this game, we got 3 more days off. We then go forward into the schedule, and just really looking at the schedule ahead for the Chicago Bulls. Yes, it's technically an easier schedule, but these are teams that all can give the Bulls fits. After Detroit, next month, or this upcoming Monday, we got Atlanta. Tuesday, we got Indiana. Thursday, we got Charlotte, the worst team in the Eastern Conference. Let's hope that the Bulls can get a dub there. I think that's supposed to be a rivalry game, too, that Lonzo Ball is going to play in. But then we got Orlando to round out that week, right? Those are all teams that shape up Atlanta and Indiana, definitely good, tough matchups for the Bulls, especially with their youth and things like that. But those are very winnable games for the Chicago Bulls, but we aren't at the place to be able to have faith in this team just because of the up and down play that they've suffered all season. So as the Bulls go forward after this game and forward, and the team bonding experience of being overseas and getting to fly over there and experience that, I hope the thing that comes out of this is a team that is just more focused for because most teams, there aren't going to be a lot of teams ever that get this type of break to kind of really refocus. And what I'm hoping at on a more, mental level of the game is that when they come back from this trip, that the conversations, the experiences they had, but they realize the business is in front of them. The toughest part of this season is in front of them, not because of the strength of schedule, but because all eyes are going to be on you. If you cannot come out of this stretch in a much better position, listen, at some point you just got to write it. It is what it is. 4 games below 500. We ain't got much to celebrate about, but hopefully that starts to change and turn around for the Chicago Bulls as they go forth this season, man, because listen, I want playoff basketball. I know how good this team can be, right? But just because they can do something doesn't mean anything. And we'll see too. And as we move forward towards that trade deadline, as we hear more things and more rumors that who's available, who's not available, all I'm going to say is this. AK sat up there and said to the Chicago Bulls fan base, we deserve, as my light goes off, we deserve to compete for championships. We deserve better than what we got. We have to get out of the first round. Those type of things. The roster that you built, it hasn't been it. It has not been it in a meaningful way. The development from younger players, things like that. There's so many things that we can point to. But at the end of the day, we deserve more than this. And so, we'll see what ends up happening. We'll see if they end up doing anything at the trade deadline. They do have some trade chips to use. That Portland pick looks less and less like it's going to convey every single day. So, if they're going to do something for that, let's do it. we're tired as a fan base. I think the biggest thing is that we're just tired of waiting. And then when we do wait, when we do have faith, last season, the faith was restored at the beginning part of that season. It came crashing down really fast. And then we sat there and AK said we need shooting, we need rim protection. And then you went out and didn't give us either one of those things. We just want a team that can compete. We want to see a team that gives heart every single night. And this team has shown a lot of heart in it at times. It hasn't been consistent and hasn't been in some of the games where we needed it to show up the most. But hopefully these players, the coaches, the front office, everyone's seeing what's going on here and realizing we have a chance, right? We have a chance. We have assets. We have whatever it is. You got to go out and get it for us. You got to go out and make it happen, man. And as we go forth, to the All-Star break, to the trade deadline, to everything that's just in front of the team and in front of the rest of this NBA season, let's hope that things start turning around and looking a little bit better for our Bulls, for our fan base. And we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm going to ask you guys this question of the day. What player has the biggest game tonight against the Detroit Pistons? And I don't just mean scoring-wise. I mean, who's going to be the standout player for the Chicago Bulls in this game? Let me know that down below. But that is it for us for today. Make sure you're following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text and our voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related because of you guys. Like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red, y'all. And I'll see you guys today. Pre-game show. Not too sure about when the post-game is going to arrive. I'm probably not going to be able to do it right after the game, but we'll figure it out. There'll be a post-game show. Probably not a halftime hangout, though. Love you guys, man. Go Bulls. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.